Welcome, everyone. We are live. Welcome to Hack Shack Studios. I am Thibert, and with me is Passion for Drawing, a.k.a. Rob.
What's up, everybody?
How are you, brother?
Oh, I'm doing good. It's good to be here. It's great to be on your stream. Watch your channel all the time.
Oh, thank you. And for the stream, everyone in the chat, and for you, Passion, as well, refer to me as The Doom.
The Doom. Okay, The Doom.
Yeah, because we are going to chat up and see if we can get some eyes on Doom Fate. That is Passion for Drawing's new book. And we're going to talk that up and probably other things as well. So, hey, we got Shinto. We got a sign of life. I always tell everybody on the chat, yeah, give me a sign of life because I'm still really paranoid that I did this right.
Everything looks good so far.
Yeah, there's a lot of buttons to push and levers to pull, so it's complicated.
Yeah, all us boomer comic book artists.
All these boomers. Call me a doomer. Boomer. All right. So let me see. We got Albino. Yo, what's up? Albino's a good guy, man. We hung out the other day.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, he may have a book.
El Gargoyle.
Yeah, he may have a book coming our way soon as well. Wait. Art the Goon? No, Edgar. No. It's the Doom. I'm bringing the whammy. Look, this is how you do it. El Gargoyle will show you how to do it. It's Hail Thibert the Doom. And, ooh, I do like that P4D.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's cool. See El Gargoyle around. Yes.
Yeah, he knows what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you know what, Edgar, you need to pay attention. Wait a minute. I think he's referring to you, Rob.
Maybe.
No, he's referring to me. Hey, the Doom fart.
Old Doom fart.
The old Doom fart, yeah.
We're actually not that different in age, so.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I'm 47.
There's a lot of difference, my friend.
Well, you're not that far.
I'm pushing 59, so I'm actually pushing 60. This year I'll be 59. I'll be 59. And my colon. Oi, don't get me into that.
I'm in that phase where it's getting hard to pee, you know. I'm getting into that phase. That's your 50s right there. 60s is colon, yeah. Start breaking down in your mid 40s.
Holy shit, man! That was unexpected. That just threw that out there, and yeah, I don't know.
Well, you started with the colon. I thought I'd finish it up.
Yeah. But I was actually joking about the colon, though. You went to Realityville, and yeah. Oh, okay. So Wilbur, I think he's talking. He's like, you guys need to focus, man. You guys need to focus. Get that campaign to 6,000 so we can get some more free stuff. So I think he's referring to Doom Fate.
Yes.
So without further ado, since Wilbur wants to get this party crazy, why don't you start talking up your campaign, and I will screen share and go there.
Sure.
All right.
All right, Doom Fate, right now we're sitting at about 56 pages for the book. It is a tale, it's sword and sorcery, kind of fantasy kind of book, about a clan of barbarians, and they worship the fates as gods. So there's 5 different fates. There's the huntsman, the tradesman, the guardsman, the mystic, and the hero. So those are all the different fates, pantheons kind of deals. Basically, their whole lives revolve around that, and their lives are set on a certain path deemed by the fates and the mystics. And then you kind of put into a certain lane. One particular barbarian, she decides she doesn't want to do that. She wants to do her own thing. Because basically she's set in her mother's footsteps, and she doesn't like that very much. So she goes against the fates and everything else, and that is the start. Hilarity ensues. If you're into Lord of the Rings, Conan the Barbarian, Dungeons and Dragons, Bone, Gru the Wanderer, The Hobbit, all those kind of fantasy stuff. It's been a huge influence on my life, and all of that's being poured into this book, and of course, comic books, of course. Is being poured into this book all in one book. It's going to be different, I think, than anything in Comicsgate. I personally feel it's a really good story. It's pretty different, but I could be biased. But I've shown others the story and the work, and they're really enjoying it. And hope to do more books later on it. But right now, this is kind of just a one-issue thing. It's looking like it's probably going to be over 60 pages.
So it starts off. Okay, I got a few questions. So
Sure.
this is the character that goes off the beaten path, right? So
Yes.
this is the one that goes rogue in the story. Okay, and so then I saw that it started off as a 48, but now you're at how many pages?
We're at least 56. Now, I have about 15 pages to go penciling for that. But as you know, excuse me, writing and drawing a story, sometimes there's a page added here or there, or you got to flesh out the story. But it's probably, sorry about that.
Are you
dog.
okay?
It's my dog.
Oh, I thought that was you.
Yeah, I got a beagle. He's loud. But it's something like that. Right now, it's leaning towards more than 56 that I'm doing. But I'm doing all the penciling, the inking, and the coloring. So
Are those set up as stretch goals, or are you just doing that because that's how the story is leading you into more pages?
it's hopefully we'll be able to do even more pages as a stretch goal. But right now, it's looking like just over 56.
Okay.
If we can do some more and I can expand it, if I can get it to go a little bit farther, I'll add more pages. But really, that's quite a ways down the line right now. I had an idea of doing 4 books, but we're not there. Excuse me. We're not there at the numbers to do a second book, but I left the ending open enough to where I could come back to it.
So your initial run, I guess your campaign was live, and ended in December. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay, so now you're in demand. So you guys, I know the in demand seems like there's less pressure, but a lot of these books do not stay in demand forever. Right. So if you're going to back, one of these books, even though it says in demand, you should still get on it. Just because they don't stay forever. And it does help just psychologically, right, Rob, where when you're getting like backers, every week, it helps with your outlook and helps motivate you and inspire you to do work.
Yes, definitely. Doing crowdfunding. This is my second book, actually. I did a coloring book before this one. So there's always that like dry spell in the middle, and then you get towards the end, and that's, you get a big push in the beginning and then a big push at the end. So I'm here in February. I'm doing a whole nother run of marketing to try to drum up excitement again, see what I can do, because there could be people I missed the first time around.
Exactly. And I'm going to be doing the same thing with Chrono Mechanics. Yeah. Is doing a big push before we go to print. Which the book is shaping up, you guys. We are seeing light at the end of the tunnel on Chrono. So let's get back. Let's focus on Doom Fate. We have the featured item, which is the book plus poster.
Yeah, so you get a 11 by 17 poster of the cover, which will be folded in with the book, and then you'll get all the stretch goals that we'll show here in a moment.
Okay, it's a mini poster of the cover, right. But if it's 11 by 17, that's not a mini poster.
Well, when people think poster, they think movie poster size. That's what I thought. Oh. They think the big posters.
Yeah.
So I put mini in front of it because that's way smaller than a
mini
32 by whatever.
Yeah, just from because this might help you. I don't want to critique your campaign here, but right. 11 by 17, it's a bigger selling point because mini prints are usually the size of a comic book. or like 8.5 by 11. Those are usually mini prints. So that's a full size print, dude. 11 by 17. That's a full size print. So
it's basically like a copy of the art, but in color and everything, with the title,
right?
Original art. So it's pretty much that size. You can get, how I drew the cover. You pretty much get it in that size.
Right. But man, 11 by 17. That is not a mini poster, my friend.
I can't go back and change it now. They don't let me.
Yeah, because I think they will. Because it's just it's so different, because when I think of mini prints, it's usually the size of the comic, or like I said, 8.5 by 11. But 11 by 17, that's like a full size print. That's a big selling point, my friend. So we have, so that's the book and the 11 by 17 print. So then we have mini print. Is this an add-on? No, this is not an add-on.
It's an add-on slash its own tier. So like, what the thing with IGG is you have to actually do two separate things to set up as an add-on. So I've sold quite a bit of the prints. You just can't tell because a lot of people just add them onto their order. So then you can do two separate things. So you would do this is a separate tiering as an add-on. You get, for some reason, they don't let you publish both of them. I don't know why. I put feedback in on them to try to get that, but there's 5 exclusive mini prints. What I did with my campaign is I went to a lot of artists I know in the fantasy, because I've drawn fantasy stuff. I went to some of my friends there, had them do a few pieces, and then some comic skate artists to do pieces for me to help promote the book. And I've had, and then I'm doing some pieces too. And the mini prints are basically half of 8.5 by 11. So they're like, a little larger than postcard size, like a flyer size kind of deal.
Right.
They're 4.25 by 5.5 approximately.
But those are still cool size. I like those, because sometimes, like if there's 5 of them, they can frame those all up in one frame. I like that sometimes, where you get those mats, those custom mats, and you can put the 5 prints in there.
Yes.
So 2 on the top, 1 in the middle, and 2 on the bottom.
Right. And the last one I'm going to be debuting here for that, because all 5 of them aren't shown here. Carl Oro did one piece, and he's going to be one of the prints. So I'll be debuting that when we hit 6K.
Oh, very cool.
Hopefully we'll get there, and then I can put that in there with the rest. But his is definitely going to go in there, and then I'll debut it then. And then and then I got one more print to add to it. Sweet. And then we'll be good to go. I have a piece that I'm working on. So it's going to be like 3 of my pieces and 3 of other people's pieces.
I just have to ask you, so if they bought this mini print collection, they could still get all the stretch goals?
There's prints stretch goals. So if we had, how I set it up is if we hit certain levels with the prints itself, it unlocks other things. Unfortunately, we didn't get there with this so far. So like I was going to add more prints, more artists, more things like that, but we didn't get there on it on this one. It's the print stretch goals, which we didn't get.
All right. So then we have trading cards. Trading cards are big right now.
Yeah, trading cards. I have at least 10 of them. Almost all of them are going to go. Now, these are getting added to this. A lot of them are getting added. Not all of them, but a lot of them are getting added to the stretch goals for the actual book. So if you get the book, you get a lot of those cards. I think we're at like 6 or 7 of the cards are actually added to stretch goals. But if you get just the add-on, you get a special card that I haven't revealed yet, which I think people are going to like. And then you get all the artists that I'll name here in a moment. You get all their art on the cards. Plus on the back of the card, it's good for Dungeons and Dragons. All the characters and their little bit of background and their names will all have their own stats for Dungeons and Dragons and role-playing games on the back.
Also, you can play them as a character in Dungeons and Dragons. That's pretty cool, man.
Or tabletop games or whatever you can. They'll be system agnostic. So, and it'll have my original concept art on the back of each of the cards. But all those cards are done by artists, separate artists. And I got some really good names to do them.
So this is definitely, if you were or if you are a Dungeons and Dragons fan, it's definitely something you want to back.
Yeah, and they're pieces of art, so can't wait.
Yes, it's a collector's item, and you can actually play it in a game. So that's pretty cool. And so this works the same way as the mini prints. It's kind of like an add-on.
It's an add-on, and you get an exclusive for backing this one. You get an exclusive, thing. We've sold quite a bit of these actually on the add-on part, but there was going to be. I actually have 4 more artists who are chomping at the bits to do these cards because they saw everybody else's and they want to kind of kick their butts. But we got to get there at the numbers got to get there for the campaign for me to do that, to bring them in.
Right.
But, I already got quite a few good ones, and I can't thank them enough to helping me out. So,
right.
We'll show who we got. It's pretty awesome.
Okay. So is this the book itself here?
Yeah, those are the pages that I've done so far. 4 page. That's 4 pages fully, penciled, inked, and colored.
Oh, I mean the tier here.
Oh, the tier. Yeah, that's just the book itself.
Okay.
No stretch goals. It's a cheaper price rate and cheaper shipping. So if you some people don't like all that extra stuff, they don't want it. They just want the book. This is for them.
That's a pretty cool idea.
Yeah. Someone's like, I don't care about cards. I don't care about that. There's definitely people.
Right.
They're going to get a signed book, and that's all they care about. So.
Right.
Open that up, strip down. And we did pretty good on that too. So happy about that.
So then you have color stretch or sketch cards here.
Yeah, that I added
20 each, or you get 2 for 20.
It's just 1 for 20. Those are just examples. For $20 you can get colored sketch cards of just a character of your choice from the book. We haven't really sold any of those yet. I was hoping to get more of those. I added those probably too late, I think. What else?
And then we have the black and white full character sketch. So this is this goes inside the book. Is that right?
No, that would be a totally separate piece.
Oh, so this is like an add-on as well.
And you don't get a book with that. That's just pencil and ink drawing.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, so people can add it if they want it. They don't want it. I wanted to give people choices.
Right. So then this we have get drawn into the book.
Yes.
Oh, you got two cases.
Two people backed it. I'm already working with both of them to get them added to the book. I already have the scenes drawn out where they're going to be in them, and just got to plug in their faces. And
do they send you photographs? Do you ask for like front view, side view, 3/4 view, back view?
Yeah, probably just a couple good pictures. Like that's actually a self-portrait of myself.
You're a handsome man.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay, so let's get into the interiors now. So those are all the tiers. Mm-hmm. So this is the Doom Fate cover. So these are the interiors here.
Yes.
So is this the team that's going on the quest?
They are going on. This is their first. This is Valeria's first patrol with the guardsmen, and in this sequence, it's her very first. She's kind of a pompous ass. Can I say ass on your screen?
Of course.
Okay. She's kind of pompous and sure of herself.
But you can't say pompous. So.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm gonna have to school you there. You can say ass all you want, but let's not get crazy with a pompous word.
She's full of herself. She's overconfident, and this is her first time out, and they kind of go to show her a lesson.
There's a little humbling that has to be done.
Yes. So kind of like the first time the rookie is out, that.
Wow, that dude is massive. Is he a giant?
Yeah, he's a giant. There's a group of giants who live in the north it takes place in a valley called Valerium. The main character, her name is Valeria. She's named after the valley. And there's a huge glacier at the northern part of the valley, and the giants live just on the other side of it. So there's 23 males and 1 mother. So she's had 23 kids from different giants, because female giants, in my world, female giants are very rare. It's like one in every 100,000. So, she gets what she wants. She's kind of a diva, but she's also a shaman too. She's a very powerful shaman. So they've had an uneasy treaty for about 1,000 years. So they're always kind of, don't come over here. You don't come over here. And this is one where they have kind of an interaction with one of them. So,
well, he doesn't like her, it seems like, but she probably said something to set him off, right?
Yes.
All right. Oh, okay. So this is not going to... Oh, my gosh. This is not going well. Oh, man. Don't mess with this chick.
Yeah, so one of my influences for the book, too, is Berserk, the manga Berserk.
Uh-huh.
If you've ever read that, that's pretty brutal. So this book seems cartoony, but I assure you it's not a cartoony book.
Man, she didn't even hesitate.
Yeah, I think I actually put the last page of that sequence in there.
I don't know. I'm thinking that a giant could have been useful in the quest, but apparently not. Just for sheer intimidation factor.
Yeah.
Is this a double page, or what is this here?
That's a 2-page spread.
Okay.
It takes place in a different part of the book. There's also an orcs called the Death Grip clan. They're kind of... I don't want to give too much of the story away, but they become a problem later in the book, and these three have to go take out a whole bunch of them, basically a whole army of them. So,
well, I bet she wishes right now she kept that giant alive.
Yeah.
Couple regrets going on right now.
A few.
So here we have another double page. Oh, that thing's awesome.
Thank you. Yeah, that's another double page. That's Durka and her sons, them attacking something. So they there's a whole big giant sequence that I'm actually almost finished with it.
So this is the female giant that you were talking about?
Yes, her name is Durka. She's based on the mother from Honey Boo Boo.
Okay.
Look and everything. So and they all talk like Southern hillbillies.
Okay.
So they all like, go get them, boys. That's how all the giants talk.
She's hot.
She's a fun character to draw. Actually, I'm having a good time drawing her. So
I like my women big and hairy.
And so I have Phil Diaz. He's doing the Diaz brothers Magic Cup. He's doing the lettering for my book.
Oh, great! Oh, he did mention that on one of the live streams I did with him.
And him and his brother are actually that 2-headed giant in the back there. So.
Oh, okay. With the like pickaxe.
Yeah.
Okay.
I put them in the book. So.
That's cool. This is my favorite page so far. That looks awesome.
Thank you. Yeah, there's a lot of other cool ones, but yeah. So those 2-page spreads were done in traditional. I did them traditionally, and I gave those away. They're given randomly away to the first 100 backers.
Okay.
So they're going to get original art out of that for backing it early on. This is all the stuff that's unlocked if you take the Epic Path through, where you have only unlocked tiers. So right now we have 7 pieces trading cards. People are getting 3 stickers.
Okay.
So we had 6 AM Comics. He did a series of stickers for me, and we're gonna give those away in part of the tiers, which are really cool, cartoony look. And then we got Simon Poitier, Narwhal did a piece, Sweens did a piece, Vinny Tarnamella did a piece, Joe Ball did a piece, Peter Gilmore, Vic King, a friend of mine, he did that Death Grip picture, which is amazing. Joby Dorr, Urban Drawer, and Carl Rowe did a piece for me. So I got quite a bit of people to do pieces for me.
You're still waiting for the Carl image.
No, I have it. I have it. I'm coloring it because most of the stuff up there I colored it.
Okay.
So I'm still working on it, and I'm waiting till we hit the stretch goal too. So to really reveal it, you got to keep the mystery alive.
Oh yeah.
So
tease him with Carl O'Rowe.
Yes, we'll tease him once we get there. Then people will be like, "Ooh, his piece came out great." Doodle Bags, I had a contest. Doodle Bags did he did a piece that he won. He's doing the back cover. It's gonna be on the back cover. It's very Frank Miller-esque looking, so it's kind of cool.
You said there were 10. Are there 10 trading cards? Is
yes,
that in the set? Yeah.
Yeah, there's going to be 10. I haven't revealed them all yet because I wanted to kind of roll them out, but we kind of came to a screeching halt a little bit.
Yeah.
But we hit 6K. I'll probably start revealing bigger chunks of that kind of stuff. And,
okay, so I only see this as an add-on. So the campaign will be different than any other once we hit 15. The campaign goes into adventure mode. Oh,
right.
Okay.
So every $500 or so, we were adding trading cards to the main tier.
Okay.
So we've gotten up to where we've been able to unlock 7 of them.
Okay, so you're not putting all the stretch goals out there for them to see. You're just kind of putting the one that's immediate in front of them, and then you'll just
preview the next one. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what I would do is, like, let's say the Simon Poitier one was unlocked first, and then I showed everybody the Narwhal one, what's coming up next.
Okay.
And when Narwhal got unlocked, I showed the Sweens one. That one came next. So
Okay.
yeah.
So then these, like, potentially all of these could be added on to the book purchase as in form of a stretch goal.
Correct. And then the trading card people, once that's done, the trading card people will get 4 new cards for themselves. And they will pay the same price. It won't go up. So they paid for 10 cards. They would get 4 more cards added to their tier.
Okay, so they'll get these 10 cards plus 4 more that you'll reveal later on.
Right. Like I said, I have 4 other artists I think everybody would be happy with.
Okay.
Just get them to do it. But again, we got to hit about 8,000 for that. So for that to become a reality. So, but there's 10 cards for them. I've only revealed 7, and they may only get 7 if you do the Epic Path tier, and then they'll get 3 plus the bonus card.
Right.
They'll have 4. So I'm always going to keep them at 4 that no one else can get. And then there's a card that I made special for the early adopters that no one else, that was a special one too, that no one else will be able to get that card either. That was just thrown in.
Okay. Well, let's play the video here. Is there a video? And there's no video?
Yeah, I didn't.
Okay.
Video.
So then these underneath are
some concept art.
Okay, there's
some other pieces of art that I did, just to show off. Some people just like to click.
How do you say his name? Zoc?
Zoc, yeah, that's War Commander Zoc. Yeah, he's the guy that's in that double page spread, kind of looking back at him.
Right.
Yeah, he's the general of the Death Grip clan.
I'm gonna Zoc you right between the eyes.
Exactly.
Did you say there was going to be humor involved, or is this, in the same, like tone as like a Lord of the Rings?
There's some light moments in it and some joking around, but the book is pretty. Let's see. It's an adventure book. It's more in an epic scale. It's more like a high fantasy, so maybe more like on the Lord of the Rings end of the deal.
Okay.
It's not. This book sets up hopefully 4 other books, but it's also a hero's journey kind of book. So when you put in a hero through something, you got to put them through a lot of down, bad things happen to them. So the book's not going to be, happy, la la, pretty all the time.
Well, no, I mean she acts that troll for just like hitting the ground next to her.
Yeah. So there's going to be some people will probably be like, "Whoa, this book!" So I'm hoping people will really enjoy it.
This is my favorite character design so far. I like this guy.
Oh, Galen? Yeah. He's
Yeah.
he's kind of the like Obi-Wan Kenobi character. He's kind of the mentor kind of guy.
Yeah. He walks off and carries a big spear.
Yeah, he got those in their society, in those barbarians. They're about 7 feet tall. They're human, but they're taller than normal humans. They're about 7 feet on average.
Okay.
And the males, one way to get known and popular is to have scars all over your body. So the more and they show them off. They're like badges. So he has this big scar across his chest where he killed this huge bear. And he wears the bear's he wears the bear as a cloak, the fur. He's also a few hundred years old.
I knew I liked him.
Yeah, because he's old.
Well, that and that he kicked a bear's ass. I hate bears. They scare me.
Yeah, so the males do that. The women wear these. They grow their hair long and wear these ornate braids in them. So, like you see Valeria, she has these like metal bracelets in her hair, and they grow real long.
Right. So then, so these are all like the different characters that go on the quest with her?
They don't go on a quest. These are the ones, they're guardsmen.
Okay.
So they guard the valley. They are the guardsmen of the valley. So think of them as like knights or like Jedi, or and they protect the valley. The valley has to be protected, which I won't get totally into it in right away in this book, but there's an overarching storyline with it and why they, all these different fate pantheons are set up.
Okay.
Why you want to be a guardsman, why you want to be a huntsman. These are all important things to the valley. The valley is the most important part.
Got it.
So, but these are characters who, Artemis, he's a really good swordsman, and he's a cool character too.
So this is his family here?
Yeah, that's his family. That's his wife and his daughter. I don't know if they'll stay that look. Like I said, this is just concept art in the beginning, so we'll see. That their look may have changed a little bit in the book, but.
Well, right now, it's 48 pages, but you said it's 50 something.
Yeah, I'm at least 56 right now.
Okay.
It's looking like I said, you can write an outline and you can do all the breakdowns, but then when you're drawing, you probably know this, you're drawing it and you're like, you know what? I need a panel here. I need a panel here.
Right.
Into an extra page. And then there's a lot of epic scenes. I'm like, you know what? Maybe this should be a full page, not a half a page or whatever.
Yeah, I'm that way right now with Chrono. There's 2 pages that I would like to add, but at some point you gotta close the book on it and get the thing out. So I've been real tempted to go, hey, let's stretch goal for 2 more pages. But it's still going to read well, but just, it's like one of those personal things where you go, man, I'd really like to draw these 2 pages here. So I know what you're going through here.
Yeah, it's a pretty epic book. There's, like I said, there's 5 or 6 pages of just a giant fight scene, with giants, them fighting giants. There's all this orc stuff in there towards the end of the book. There's, you got to show the valley. You got to show. There's a couple fight scenes in there, and it's a lot of action. And the way I draw, I'm not a sequential artist normally, so I want to draw these big, sweeping, cool. I love doing the 2-page spreads. Those are fun, but you can't make a whole book of 2-page spreads. So,
or can you? Did you see that there was a John Byrne story that he did some years back, and it was all just full-page spreads? The whole story was.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can believe. Well, didn't it, like Frank Miller when he did what was the samurai book he did? What was it? But that stuff was like almost it was like 2-page spreads through the whole book. And I don't
think you can get really deep into subject matter, but
Ronin, that's it. When you did Ronin, it's like that whole book's like 2-page spreads.
Yeah, but there's multiple panels. I'm talking about like it's a full page spread, but there's only one image on it. There's not multiple panels. So
Oh, that's crazy.
yeah, Burns' book would, if it was 22 pages, there's 22 panels basically, all in the form of a full page spread. So yeah, like I said, you can't really get into too much nuanced storytelling, but it would be fun to do. Just a bunch of bombastic full page spreads. Actually, now I say it, I might do it. It could be fun. Okay, so we have Doom Fate. I'm sorry, Doom Fate, and it's 48 pages, right? Well, it started off as 48 pages, but it is now 56 pages, and you are at 5,759. You have 130 backers, so this is pretty good. It's in demand, so if you guys like good action adventure, you like sword and sorcery, you like Dungeons and Dragons, this is definitely your book. So let me go back to the chat and see where we're at. Ooh, that all rhymed. That was good. That was good. Hey, we have a couple celebs. We have your buddies, Zaid Comics.
Yeah.
Those are the brothers.
Hail the ballers.
The ballers. Okay, so we got the ballers here. And then we have another. I saw him. Yeah, we have Adam Post here. So hey, Adam, what is up, man? The other day, I cannot believe the two Adams stayed on. What was it? A 6-hour Ethan Van Sciver live stream. I think I did 3 hours. Those guys did the whole thing.
Got those books.
Yeah. So Adam likes the way you draw snow.
Thank you, Adam.
So we have Shinto says, "Hail Adam, hail passion, hail art, Edwin the Ace." So we've got a lot of hails going on. Hail everyone, just popped in for a little bit before bed to show support for Doom Fate. So yeah, I'm supporting too with the Art the Doom Thibert. Yes. So, that's what I wanted to do as well. So I'll do this. So, yeah, here is the link right here to Doom's. Oh man, I want to, because there was, I know where I'm getting it from is when I worked at Extreme Studios, Rob had Doom's 4. So that's why I want to keep putting an S on Doom. So it's Doom Fate. That's why I keep saying Doom's Fate. And
yeah,
and
Doom Fate, but the term Doom Fate actually is it's a person, it's a place, it's an event, it's all these things wrapped up into one, and it gets explained in the book what it is, and it's kind of like quantum, the singularity of a black hole. It's called the singularity. It's it's a place, it's an event, it's kind of the same idea.
Well, what is this the one? Yeah, this is the one I wanted. I feel like Doom Fate would also translate well into a continuing series a la Alterna Comics, the way Doom or Downcast is going. So you did say that this is there's multiple books involved in the overall story, right?
I don't know if it would fit Alterna because there is some pretty graphic. I would consider this an R-rated book. If you read the old, Savage Sword of Conan's back in the day.
Oh, did I?
Yeah, the heads lopping off, and they would throw nudity in there. Every once in a while. There's not really nudity in this book or sex or anything like that.
Darn.
But there's definitely some side boob and things like that. But there's definitely going to be heads flying. Guts everywhere, blood. As you saw in that one panel, there's a whole page where it's just going to be all blood. So,
right.
It's definitely. I don't know if Alterna they do more of family type of stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know if it'd be a fit for them. I mean, I would love that. I mean, give me a call, somebody. That's fine.
So then the plan is that you'll probably do other crowdfund campaigns for the rest of the series.
I'm hopeful. What I wanted to do was an anthology book that would go with this. I was hoping we'd get there, but I don't know if we'll get there. I may do just a separate thing where it's different artists and writers from Comicsgate will each do like a 5 to 6 page short story, and I want to put it in a magazine format like those old Savage sort of Conans and make it in black and white with a nice, cool painted cover like back in the day.
Yeah.
And, just kind of replicate that because those were some of my favorite comics, the Basim stuff, and I love that stuff. So I'd love to see each of these side characters kind of get some backstory and have different interpretations by other artists and writers in Comicsgate. I may do that separate if I can, scratch up some money. But my next book I'm actually working on is with another Comicsgate writer. He's new. It's called Grave Robbers. It's a horror Western book. So I'll be working on that. I'll be the artist on that come spring and summer. And I think we're looking to launch that in the fall. So that'll be a little bit departure. It's about a set of kind of not evil cowboys, but a group of people. One's a werewolf, one's a mummy, and the other one's a demon.
Uh-huh.
And they go around, they're trying to look into this cult. And it's all Old West based. So very based on old Westerns and our love for Westerns and horror movies. Kind of take both those and combine them. It's going to be a fun book.
Cool. The Zaid brothers, or just one of them, says, Passion, didn't you have some history with Image Comics?
Yes.
Want to answer that?
Yeah, I do. I have a couple of stories. So, I when I was younger, back in the 90s, like all of us were trying to get into comics, I was doing, when I got out of college, military, I was doing digital publishing. I was one of the first places I started doing it. So I started doing digital coloring pretty early, getting the hang of it. And I showed my stuff. I think Rob Liefeld was just starting up. The Image thing just kind of started up. So I brought my stuff to, I think it wasn't Wizard World Chicago yet. I think it was still Chicago Comic Con, I think, at the time. I don't know if you remember, it was that big one where they had the ridiculous blow up stuff out front. And
oh yeah. I wasn't there, but I remember it.
Yeah, it was just, they're pulling up in limos and all. It was just crazy time when they first busted out. So I showed my work around, and they didn't even really have everybody didn't really even have great booths yet. That's how early in the Image process it was. Because I think that was one of their first cons they did. And so I went to them. I went to a lot of the Image guys, and they all liked my stuff. Got a lot of cards and all that stuff. But I got the Extreme, and they loved it. They were like, yeah, we need you. So first day, I talked to a couple of editors, and they were all good. But they told me, well, Rob he's the final say. You got to talk to him. So I was supposed to. They said, come back later this afternoon. He'll be here. Talk to him. We'll get it going. So okay. So I came back later that afternoon, and then he never showed up. So I was like, okay. They're like, come back tomorrow. He'll be here tomorrow. I was like, well, I don't have a ticket for tomorrow, but I'll come. I had to pay for parking and all that stuff.
Right.
So I came back, and it told me like 11 o'clock. So I come back. It's like, oh, Rob was out late last night. He's running late. Can you come back in a few hours? I said, okay, sure. So I come back in a few hours. Oh, he came and he left. I was like, what? This is like Sunday of the con. I was like, oh, okay, what do I do now? So okay, well, here's my name, my card. The guy, name escapes me. And he gave me his card. I feel bad about what happened. Give me a call on Monday, and we'll work something out. And I said, okay. So I call him Monday. He's like, oh yeah, I remember you. Let me get some things going, and then I'll get back to you.
Who were you talking to? Was it Matt or Eric Stevenson? Who were you talking to?
It might have been Eric Stevenson. I don't know. But again, this is 27 years ago, 26 years ago.
Yeah, I worked out of that studio for years, so I'm just trying to figure out who you possibly.
Yeah. So so I talked to him. Then, I tried not to, this is back, there was no email. There was no, you could only call people on the phone back then.
Yeah.
So call every once in a while. And he's like, oh, yeah, I remember. And then suddenly didn't pick up the phone anymore. So then at this time I was sending out, pencils and inks and colors and whatever to everybody that I could, because I was going to college at the time. And I finished up college in like 96. And I was just sending out because I went to art school, got my degree. And I was just because that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to do something in comic books.
Right.
So I didn't ever hear back from Extreme. And so then I got word from a coloring studio who did stuff for Extreme. I forgot the name of them too, but they did for Extreme and for a lot of the Image books. They were like a studio for that, and they're like, yeah, we want you, man, we want you. I said okay, and it gotten to the point where, like, yeah, come on out. They're in California, and I was in Illinois. So like, yeah, come on out. And I was just out of college. I was like sleeping on people's couches. It didn't matter. So I was like, yeah, sure, man, I'll pick up when my stuff come out there. So up until about a week or two before they wanted me out there, suddenly I was calling them just to verify. They weren't picking up the phone anymore. And I'm like, what's going on? I'm calling. And then one day someone picked up the phone and like, oh, no, and this is about the time when the Image thing kind of fell in, like, oh, they don't work here anymore. Things are changing. So that was
that was the end of Image. That wasn't the early days of Image.
Well, yeah, this is a few years later. So
I thought you said it was the early Image days, but
yeah, but when like 2 or 3 years later, when Extreme and stuff that stuff started falling apart, this was like 97,
right?
When it started falling apart and sales tanked and all that stuff. That's when I got that second chance, and then it just like, we're not really expanding. We're not really doing this. We got that whole talk, and I was like, okay. And at that point, I was working on websites and graphic design. At that point, doing, I had a job, but it would have been cool to do that. But
so you were trying for several years then, right?
Yeah, I tried since I was 16 till all the way till about 2005 or 6.
Wow.
So about 20 years I tried. I did everything, I went to college for art, I talked to as many professionals as I could. I sent in as much stuff as I could. I got real close several times. Really, really close.
Well, you know who was in charge of recruiting people at one point at Extreme Studios?
Who was that?
Me.
Maybe it's you I talked to. Maybe you ghosted me.
I don't remember any of this. Well, actually,
I remembered you.
Yeah, I did. I mean, I was pretty good at getting back to people, but it was very short. It was very short term. And two of the people that I brought to Rob was J. Scott Campbell and Greg Capullo, and he didn't hire either one.
Mine would have been for coloring, because that was the one thing that both studios really wanted, because I was doing digital coloring back when it was new. So, because I was working at a printing place that had Photoshop, and I was really going in there and figuring out how to color digitally, because there was no tutorials. There wasn't a whole lot of, when Spawn came out, that blew everybody's mind. And what you could do with digital colors. And I started going there, really hitting it hard on that, and learning a lot.
Well, Extreme Studios had pretty much a 24-hour color house going.
Right.
So they ran round the clock.
Yep.
Working, yeah.
Yeah, and it just that was probably who I was. If I remember right. I got the letter somewhere stacked away, but
I'm trying to think. Was it Donald Skinner? I think he was in charge of digital at one point.
Yeah, that could be it, because talking, and then they weren't there. So if there was a time where, like, they were there and then suddenly everybody just got canned, I don't know how the timing runs out on that. I got some paperwork somewhere, but there was never like a contract written up or anything crazy like that. But that's how they were doing it back then.
Yeah,
They were just by the seat of their pants, and they wanted me to come out to California with the coloring kid. They wanted to come out and show some more stuff around, and I was gonna fly out there, and and they're like, "Oh yeah, your stuff looks great, and we want you, and we need you." And it's like, I was ready, man. I was ready, but didn't happen. Then I did some coloring.
Well, probably good it didn't happen, especially the later years, because you might have come out and only worked for a couple months and then had to go back home.
Yeah, it would have been weird. And then, well, my life took a different thing. And then I tried breaking in quite a bit when I first got married.
And then you broke into cage matches, right? That's where you started bare knuckle brawling.
Exactly. Well, that's
2 years.
That probably pays more than comics.
Yeah, but it's hell in the face.
Yeah. Oh, well, yeah, so is comics.
Yeah.
But no, I did. What really sealed it for me was I went to a Wizard World, and my wife came with. We were newly married. She's like, "Well, what's all this comic book stuff?" Because she's a nerd, but she's not in that world. And so I showed her about my work and stuff with me, and stood in lines and talked to a lot of people. Good feedback. Got some cards, that kind of stuff. But it was when I was in the Marvel line. Had to be about 30 people there doing portfolio reviews, and they the editor looked at my stuff, went, yeah, this is good, I like this, usually like real positive. I was used to getting a lot of that kind of reaction. People are like, oh yeah, this is great. It was a Spider-Man and Hulk story. It's pretty good, and they liked it. And so he closes up the portfolio. He's like, oh yeah, thank you. I'm like, well, did you like it? He's like, oh yeah, I loved it. I was like, well, how about a job?
That'd be nice. Yeah.
So,
well, let me introduce you real quick to Victor, and just in case people are coming in late in the chat, we have Rob from Passion for Drawing, and he has a new book called Doom Fate. There's no S on Doom. It's just Doom Fate, and it's right now in demand on Indiegogo. So we're kind of getting to know Rob and his new project. So I hope that catches everybody up. So go ahead, Rob. I'm sorry.
There's Mark Middleton in the chat. Hey, Mark. He's the one I'm going to be doing Grave Robbers with. A really cool guy. That's going to be my next project after this one.
Okay. His name's Mark?
Mark Middleton. Yeah, he's in the chat there. He's
okay.
So, hey, Mark. Hey, Vic. Hey, everybody. There. Yeah, so I did I was like, hey, how about a job? And he's like, we're not really hiring. And I kind of look back, and there's like 30 people behind me waiting in line. I'm like, well, why are we all here? And my wife got upset. My wife got really upset. So I was just like, all right, well. And at that point, I was kind of done. I was like,
he's like, no one treats my passion like this. No one.
Well, no, it was like, you do like almost 20 years of getting your craft, and then people are liking your stuff, and then they still won't hire you. So something else was going on. So I was like, I'm just gonna get into graphic design, and I kind of did my art career, and I kind of went on some other things too, got into tech stuff. But I came out of it doing more of fantasy work, doing stuff for RPGs. I've done some stuff that was printed by Wizards of the Coast, and some Kickstarter stuff, and a lot of independent role-playing game people. So I've done a lot of that stuff. And Comscape came a calling. I was like, because I was doing coloring books, and I was like, everybody's like, you should do a comic. You should do a comic, man. And this is what Doom Fate became. So.
Well, cool. One of the things that I did that got me back into comics when I was in my late teens, probably late teens actually, was Savage Sword. So a lot of the sword and sorcery kind of, like the Conan Savage Sword adventures, like the magazine size book. And then there was a company called Pacific Comics, but the more adult stuff got me back into comics. So I was kind of going down the same avenue as you, where I was doing sword and sorcery type of stories and designing characters and things like that. So I thought that's what I wanted to do. And I did some fantasy, sword and sorcery kind of adventure stuff early on, but I definitely still have that passion. So it's neat to see that you're, pursuing it, and you're getting, it's not just in your head anymore. You're putting it down on paper and you're making it real and getting it in front of people. And that's a lot, man. That's a major jump for people like us to go from that. I'd really like to tell a story. I'd really like to do this, to actually, physically making it happen. And it's a pretty gutsy thing. So, and your book looks really good.
Well, thank you, Art. That means a lot. I appreciate that compliment. Yeah, let me tell you, from someone who's been doing kind of just, well, comic book artists would call them pinups, but they're actually full pieces and stuff like that. Doing sequential art is a completely different ballgame. It's very labor intensive. It can be time grueling, and it's way different than just doing, like those 2-page spreads I did in the book took me less time than doing a page or two of sequentials, because
sequentials are basically, if it's a 6-panel page, that's 6 different illustrations that you have to lay out, and they all have to work within a like confines of a story. Like, you have to make a point with 6 different illustrations. So it's not like just 6 separate illustrations. There's 6 illustrations that have to relate to each other in some way.
Mm-hmm. And you have to plan. There's a lot more planning. You have to plan.
Yeah.
You have to plan the story out. You have to worry about where the text balloons are going to go. You have to worry about making sure one page flows into the next.
Right.
It's a different thought process. I don't know if a lot of people understand that like comic book medium is a totally different medium. Like, say, painting portraits or landscapes, or just doing comic strips, for newspapers. Totally different thing. And especially, you want to cram as much as you can on one page. So early on, I was having difficulty with that, changing my mindset. But I looked at a bunch of artists and the way they did some stuff, and manga artists, and it kind of clicked, where I just look at the page as a whole piece of art now, and tell the story within the page. So that's kind of my thought process. I know a lot of comic artists don't think that way. They think panel to panel, but I'm thinking just as one page is one big piece of art. So.
Yeah, and then, well, the page has to aesthetically look pleasing, and you have to be able to move the reader's eye through the page. But also, a lot of pages could be like story pages could be multiple pages. So you're not even really just thinking one aesthetically well laid out page, but if it's a 3-page sequence, you have to, you have to lay out all 3 of those pages so they work as a whole as well. So yeah, there's a lot to it. But it really is storytelling. When I broke in the business years ago, it was always, the emphasis was on storytelling. And now, the last couple of years, there have been a lot of comic book people coming in, or thinking that they're comic book storytellers, but they mostly do pinup work.
Right.
And it is a totally different discipline. It couldn't be more night and day. So if you can put a good pinup together, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be a good storyteller,
Totally agree, because I went back, before I even started this book, I went back and studied, Kirby, and I went through the How to Draw the Marvel Way, and I went through those, old school artists and looked at their page, Buscema, those old Conans, and and Bernie Wright's and stuff. And I just went back to the, because I have an art degree, so you go look at the masters. That's how you're supposed to do it. So I
Right.
went back and looked at the masters and how they did the storylines. Then I started looking at manga and some of the 90s stuff, and moving on from there, and just kind of incorporating as much as I can in that storyline, because I have the fantasy stuff down. So it's just like, how do we get the storyline? I think, I bounce a lot of stuff off of other artists here in Comicsgate, and they're pretty happy with my storytelling. I think I got it down. I'm trying to do some different things and experimental stuff, but I think I'm doing a pretty good job. I think I'm doing a pretty good transition.
Yeah.
And I'm getting better and a good feel for it as I go along. It feels more natural as I'm doing it.
Yeah, the more you do, the more you'll be comfortable and you'll get it down. Actually, I take that back. The more comfortable, I'm still not comfortable with it. It still feels like a learning process to me. So I don't know if that ever gets better, but the work will start improving over time. So I like what Sheldon Martin said here. I just draw arrows from one panel to the next. So that's really the best way to do it, you guys. So if there's anybody out there keeping score, to show what panel you want the reader to go to next, just draw a big arrow. And if you're a colorist, make that arrow bright red, because that'll definitely show the reader the next panel they're supposed to go to. So you don't even have to draw the book in order or panels in any particular order, as long as those arrows are in place. So thank you a lot. Thank you very much, Sheldon. That was very helpful.
And I see Henry Eskelin in the chat. He's one of the people who did a piece for my campaign as well.
Oh, okay.
So,
hey there, Henry. What's up?
Yeah, he's great. He's in college now. I do streaming on Mixer a few days a week, and I was on Twitch before that doing art. I've been doing that for a few years, but he was one of my viewers, and he's a great artist. He's young yet, but he's becoming a great digital artist. So he's done some really great stuff, and good guy. So had him do a piece too.
Well, way to go, Henry. Just keep the faith, man. Just keep drawing every day. So Vic King says, Art, this is your best interview yet. Thank you, Vic. Yeah, well, it's the subject matter. It's there's a lot of passion going on. And there's a little bit of doom talk, but it's mainly passion. So we have, hi, Mr. Thibert. I am older and trying to start a campaign. How do I protect my IP? That is a really good question. There's the poor man copyright, which is you draw up your comic book, you send it to the post office with your own mailing address on it. And then, so they send it back to you. And the reason, and you never open the package. Don't ever open the package. It's called the poor man copyright. So what that does is the postmark on the package will give you the date that you created the book. It's not an absolute, like if you were in a court of law or whatever, but it's probably the first thing you could do and the most inexpensive thing that you could do. The other thing is you could start posting things online, and a lot of times there's when you post things on like Facebook or Twitter, there's a timestamp that goes with it, a time and date. So that possibly, or I think the best thing to do is to put out some kind of like ash can or small publication and go to cons and sell the book, get it in front of people, because you have to, if somebody's going to steal it, it has to be out there in the world. So you kind of have to put the book out in the world, but by putting it out there and selling it, you're actually creating a timeline. You're building a case for yourself if you wanted to take something to court. But I'll tell you, these things are really, really hard to prove. And unless somebody that ripped you off has a serious amount of cash, then it's not really worth doing and worrying about. So try to protect yourself like in those ways that I told you, but don't get too hung up on it, because realistically speaking, if somebody wanted to steal your stuff, there's not really a whole lot you can do to protect yourself. And I've had these conversations with people, and some people get so paralyzed with fear that they end up not wanting to put anything out, and they never do. So don't let that slow you down. Put the book out, and then just have faith in yourself that what you've created is something you can do again, because you're the creator. So even if somebody rips off an idea from that book, you'll just create another book, or you'll create another IP or another idea, because then you're not a one-trick pony, and these things do happen. The more influential you are stylistically, story-wise, and creatively, the more people are going to be inspired by it. Let's just say inspired versus stealing. They're going to be influenced by those things, and then they are going to become part of the comics language or history. And I've done this several times. I know how you feel, but the best thing is, don't be paralyzed by it. Put the book out there. The first thing you can do is just get the poor man copyright, and then go to conventions with, an ash can or something like that, something that doesn't cost you a lot of money, and get it out there, sell it. Make sure that there's dates, and that you do put a copyright, information on there. You could buy a copyright and do all that, but it is expensive, and you still have to prove that it exists and that it's out there in the world. So do you have anything to add to that, Rob?
Yeah, I would say in this day and age, your biggest problem really is, how would you defend a case like that? Even these big companies, you see a lot of like Mickey Mouse and all this stuff. Like I see stuff that's supposed to be knockoffs, or not even knockoffs. They change it a little bit, and that really actually it breaks copyright. These big companies don't even go after it, because it would be so expensive to just go after someone doing like a print, let's say. It's not worth their time. And if it's not worth like Disney's time or Warner Brothers' time to go after these people, it's not worth your time. So the best way to protect yourself, in my opinion, in this digital age is, like everything Art said is correct. But if you're talking about online stuff, get your presence set up on Instagram, on Facebook, on Twitter, whatever, and put it out there. And if people start stealing your stuff off there, trust me, if you have a bunch of fans and they really like your stuff, they will make it known that you're an art thief.
Yeah, and sorry about that. Start posting that stuff up. And like I said, there is a timestamp and everything that goes with your posts. So it is kind of a way that you can prove it, your case. But I'm glad Rob agreed with me. It really is one of those hard to prove. And I think Sheldon has probably the best advice here. Just hire a big shot, high price lawyer, and you're all set. No big deal. Because you know what? We all have deep pockets and multi-billions of dollars that we can just shut down people that are ripping us off. So great advice once again, Sheldon. Sheldon Martin is on fire in this stream.
Yeah, it comes down to money. Do you want to defend, like, say it's just a piece of art and they took it? I mean, you're talking six figures to defend one piece of art, and it's just.
Well, I'll give this little case in point. Like, we put out Chrono Mechanics a couple years ago. I'll try to sum the story up quick because I've told it before. I had a deal with Kids WB to do an animated cartoon version of Chrono. And so my attorney contacted what's his name, Jack Black's, management. And we had sent them the comic that I had. We sent them the pitch, and we wanted Jack Black and Tenacious D to sing the opening song, Holding Out for a Hero. And this was years ago, before that became effed out. So I just want to be clear about that, because I know it sounds like, oh, really? That's a cliche, but it wasn't then. And so nothing came of that. Kids WB fell apart. They just kind of they just kind of got absorbed by Cartoon Network. So Chrono never became a cartoon show. But years later, there was a movie called The Pick of Destiny. Well, I have a character. His name is Doug, the D, and he had a guitar pick, and he calls it the Lucky Pick. Well, okay, Lucky Pick of Destiny. It's a no-brainer. And then they did a series of like music videos, and we have these characters. At the time when we pitched it to Jack Black's management, they were called Time Gremlins. They're Chronomites now. And so in one of their videos, music videos, there's a time gremlin in there. So there's a lot of little things, and it continues over. There's a lot of similarities and things. And I remember going to my attorney, and he says, "Yeah, you have a case. You have a case. You definitely do." He said, and we would probably win. He said, but we wouldn't win that much because the movie wasn't that successful. So even, this lawyer, says we have a case, we could have done it, but to what avail? You know what I mean? For, $10,000 or whatever the hell it would have been, it's just not really worthwhile. So even when you do have a case, sometimes you just don't pursue it because it doesn't make financial sense.
Right. Yeah.
So that's the horrible reality of it. But like I said, just have faith in your IP that even if somebody swipes it, you'll just create something else. And always, just like Rob already knows this, is like the only person that can do Doom Fate is Rob. Rob is Doom Fate. So somebody could rip off the idea, but it will never be the same because that IP is him. And Chrono Mechanics and Black and White are me. So they can rip off elements of it, but that voice, that original voice, the life that was given is uniquely the creator. So try not to get too hung up on people ripping you off because it's kind of a detractor. Do what you can, but keep creating and look out after yourself as much as you can, but don't get too hung up on it.
It's kind of the cost of doing business with art and stuff. I've found there's going to be people who do that, and then unfortunately, most of the people who steal this stuff, they're just not creative themselves. So they need people like us to do this kind of stuff. I mean, like Steven Spielberg is well known for taking people's stuff. I mean, he has a pretty bad reputation at the point where no one really wants to work with him anymore.
Right. And then there's that weird thing where what is inspired and what is ripped off. You know what I mean? Like we're all inspired by something. You mentioned a bunch of things that you liked, that inspired you to do Doom Fate. So, there's always that, but that's why you can't get too hung up on it, I think.
Yeah, like Valeria, she actually started out being a dude. It was actually a dude. And like every time I drew him, he looked too much like Conan, and it ended up my early one. If you look at Armis, he's actually kind of what he was going to look like. So then I went with a woman because I wanted to show comic book writers and Hollywood how to do a good woman hero story. Because they all suck now. I wanted to do like a really cool heroine. But I had to be careful to, because she's a redhead. Everybody's like barbarians have to be redheads, female ones. And it's like, you got to be careful because, we get in the Red Sonja area, you just got to make the look different. I kept all that in mind when I designed the character.
Oh, Simon says just pay the frickin' register. And he says it's only $35 to $50. So if that's the case, and you have $35 to $50, and go ahead and register. I've never, to be honest, done that. And just by publishing the book itself actually is a better way to protect your IP than even registering. So I'm sorry to interrupt you, Rob, but Simon just threw that out there. Yeah.
Yeah, you could do that. I mean, you could definitely do all that. I've done that kind of stuff before, but really just putting it out there and trying to get it sold is your first I think that's your first focus, is get your art out there and get it and make money off of it.
Yeah.
You know,
And get it and just create it. And by putting it out there, especially if you can publish it, even if you publish it by yourself, if there's a date on it and everything, it works as a copyright. But if you got it published through like Image or a small publishing company, it might actually hold more weight. But I don't think so. Actually, having said that out loud, I think you'd still be covered. Because also, like with chrono mechanics, we initially called it quantum mechanics. That was the original working title, and actually we published an ashcan, and we're selling it at San Diego Comic-Con. So we had a big push, and so a small publisher came after me and said that I actually have a book called Quantum Mechanics. So I looked into the legalities of it. Image Comics helped me, my lawyer helped me, and I could have done it. I could have still published, because quantum mechanics is a term in its public domain. So you can't copyright quantum mechanics. And so, we went back and forth. And so my attorney and Image Comics said, you know what, just change the name, because this guy can hold you up from publishing your comic book. Like, he won't win the case, but he can throw up enough shade that it would take time from, you know what I mean, putting out the book, making money, entertaining folks, that type of thing. So that becomes the problem too. And in the long run, he did me a solid favor, because if I did use quantum, then I wouldn't have been able to copyright it the same way I could chrono mechanics. So, you know what I mean? Sometimes these things happen. You just have to cross that bridge when you get there, and just be clever and more resourceful when shit hits the fan, which it will.
I wanted to ask you a question, or everyone ask. Now, you've been an inker for most of your career. Where do you think the switch was? Where, because it really, most artists nowadays ink their own work, and back it was usually pencilers, and then inkers did a lot of the finishing job. When do you think that really switched over? To where
when there stopped being money in the individual, job titles. So I think a lot of pencilers ink themselves because they can get paid more money, or if they darken the pencils to the extreme that it almost looks like inks, then they can get more money per page. So I think that the studios, or the publishing companies, kept that as an option for people and encourage people to do that, because in the long run, the publishing companies save money. And actually, that's a great question, because I was going to do another live stream about this, about kind of what Marvel's doing and how they're retracting that now, where they did everything in their power to kind of demean an inker. And I think a few months back, or maybe even a year ago, CB is now saying how important inkers are, and they're encouraging inkers to come over to Marvel, because when they were screwing the inker over, they all went to DC, and DC was like, they saw the merit in it. They paid us for what we were worth, and they understood that we brought something to the table. Marvel didn't, and the reason Marvel's doing it right now, and the reason CB's doing it, is because they're getting a lot of kind of amateur talent coming in to do those books, and they need somebody that understands this stuff to come in and finish it off. So actually, they're looking at inkers that have those skills to come in and basically help those pencilers out. Because even if those guys ink themselves, they'll be saving money, but those books aren't going to look any better than they do now.
Do you think that, just to follow up, do you think that was an issue with why? Because it's a factory collaborative process. Do you think it slowed art getting done on time if an artist sits there and also has to ink it? Or do you think it was faster for the artist to do the pencils, hand them off to an inker, and start the next project Do you think that that's why a lot of books, where they have self inkers on them, tend to be on the later side? Or
Yeah, I think you make a good point, and I think you're 100% correct. I think it can potentially slow things down, because you're asking that penciler to do more. So they have to think about the end result versus a piece of the process. And so it is way it's saying it seems like it would take more time, but it actually is way more. Um, it's more of a time saver to send these pages out to an inker, because also most inkers have, especially if they've been working with the penciler for a while, they understand how that style works. So even if those pencils are a little loose, the consumer will never know, because they'll finish it off. They'll make it look complete. Sometimes, in a deadline crunch, there are hands missing. There are, sometimes it's not rendered. Sometimes there's no light sources. Sometimes the drawing isn't that strong, and a lot of good inkers can go in there and finish those things up and bring them to a polished look that the consumer will respond to. And if you don't, then that penciler is forced to tighten those things up. And every 5 minutes, every 10 minutes, every half hour you spend on a page gets you further and further away from completing your deadline. It used to come down to seconds and minutes. That's all I have to say. Yeah, I mean, deadline, oh, go ahead.
did you think that maybe a lot of artists didn't want to be Vince Coletta? If people don't know who Vince Coletta is, he inked a lot of Kirby stuff, and he's supposed to be a real nice guy, but he does have the reputation of cutting out a lot of work of the artist. And did you think that was, on the artist end? I'm thinking on the artist end. Do you think there's definitely great inkers, but they're kind of a dying breed? Do you think that a lot of artists just, maybe in the 90s, I think that switchover was, I would say, where a lot of
they wanted to start being a little bit more like in control of the look. Before, it was a process. So the pencilers were mostly storytelling, composition, and just clarity in storytelling. And so that was their main priority. It wasn't to necessarily give a finished, polished look to the inker. The inkers were embellishers. They kind of brought stuff together. Not all inkers, but the majority of them could do that. And so then, pencilers wanted to be more in control of the look. So they started getting a little bit more choosy with inkers, and then ultimately, I guess, take stuff away from the inker and do it themselves. But I will say this: I started off as a penciler. I got pencil work before I got ink work. I started off as a penciler and an inker, and I wasn't inking my own work necessarily. I penciled the Warlord and was inking at Marvel at the same time. So I was working simultaneously, inking other people's pencils and penciling myself, being inked by Pablo Marcos on the Warlord. And so what started happening with me is the penciling was a lot of work and a lot of heart and soul, because I was getting involved in the story. I was really committing to stuff. And then what would happen is kind of a Vince Coletta scenario, where the inker might not have the same passion as I did. And so then they kind of just blow through it, and, in like a Vince Coletta thing, because the reason Vince Coletta did it is because the more he could ink, the more money he would make, because there was no royalties or anything in those days.
Nothing. Even sometimes they wouldn't even get credit on the book.
Right. So they were just kind of blasting through this stuff, trying to make as much money as they could. But if you're heart and soul like I was, it becomes heartbreaking to do all that work and then have an inker not bring it up to a certain level. I heard John Buscema talk about this as well. And so it is a reality. And I understand a penciler wanting to control their destiny and ink their own work. And that's what I do. When I got to a place where I could pencil and ink my own work, I did. And the reason I stopped penciling as much is because it was hard to find an inker that could express himself the way I wanted him to express himself, to read my pencils the way I wanted them to be read. And so I do understand all of that, and it's all valid. But, if you're going to put out monthly comics, these kind of passion projects are best to do what we're doing. Passion is Indiegogo, make them personal, make these things our own, and then you can put that extra time and that extra passion in. But when you're working for Marvel and DC, it really is kind of an assembly line, and the guys that survive that, and I do say survive on a monthly basis, those are guys that understand it's hit and miss, man. You got to keep moving forward. You can't get too crazy over the little details, because it just doesn't. It slows the whole process down.
You got deadlines and all that thing and everything. Because with my work, I'm already thinking to the coloring process. That's why my work looks a little bit different. Like if you just saw the pencils and then the inks, it would look very flat and everything. Because I cut a lot of my shadows and everything else at the coloring stage. Where a lot of people would, inkists and pencilers even, would do that at that stage. I put blacks in and things like that, but I really like the look of shadows being in color, not necessarily in, hard black. Like, I like that look. That's just how my brain works. But inkers are a different. It comes back from the old days because I've been looking at a lot of Buscema stuff. And back then, everything was flat colors, so you had to put those hard blacks and hatch lines to give the art shape and show that. But as digital color came around, you could do more. And I think some artists pulled back too much, where it's just lines now, and they let the colorists do all the work, all the shading.
Yeah.
I'm trying to find a good medium in between that. Where I'm putting, some good blacks and, some good stuff in there. So I don't have so much work to do, but I think it's a pretty unique style that I've gotten. But I just find it interesting because, even inking for a very long time, and I always found it fascinating because I've seen some really bad inks. I've seen inkers basically put their own style over other people's art. The Buscema Wolverine run, I think, did Klaus Janson ink that? Can't remember who inked.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and it was weird because I like Klaus Janson. I like Buscema. It was just a weird combo because Klaus was, at that time, he was kind of really doing his own thing. And it's a really weird, it was a cool two artistic styles melged together that made that book look really unique. And, some people didn't like it. They wanted old school Buscema stuff. But I thought you can get with an inker, and if they have a style and you have a style, you can kind of meld them together and create something completely new. I don't think John Byrne stuff without Terry Austin, the X-Men stuff. I mean, Terry Austin came in, and his style of inking really made John Byrne's stuff sing. And then you would see stuff that he didn't ink. It wasn't quite the same.
And Byrne had contempt for him as well.
Yeah.
And I thought Carl Kiesel on the Superman run did an exceptionally good job as well, in kind of a Terry Austin type of really clean style. But, it just wasn't what John wanted. So there's always that too, because sometimes there's what the creative individual wants, but it might not even be the best for, an overall commercial look. Mm-hmm. So sometimes an inker is bringing something to the table that even the penciler might not want, but he is plussing it. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of different reasons why these relationships don't work, and there's a lot of reasons why they do. I think Vic King is totally correct when he says, I am an ink Nazi, and you're damn right I am. No, just kidding. I just wanted to talk badass for a minute there.
Yeah, inking's always been a fascinating part of comics to me. I think it's an unsung part of comics that doesn't get enough attention in my mind. As my favorite inker artist as Bernie Wrightson.
Yeah, he's one of those cases that he knows what he wants and he can put it down.
And he inked a lot of other people's stuff, so and it always looked good to me. But he had such a command of light and shadow, and
almost like his drawing, his structure stuff was good.
Yeah.
But I think his understanding of light and dark and composition was like his real strong suit.
Yeah, especially all his horror comics and all that stuff was just fantastic. And I've drawn some. I'm trying to. One day I want to do a horror anthology book like that, and just do it like in that style.
Well, you're gonna have to start falling in love with inks.
Oh yeah, I love inks. Yeah, I've done it, like painting. Probably use brush for most of it.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's the tool. That's the tool, brother. So L. Gargoyle says, what's the best self-discipline advice would you give to working on passion projects? I'll answer, and then I'll see what Rob has to say as well. If I had to distill it down to one thing, it would be discipline. You have to discipline yourself. These passion projects you can become very, very self-indulgent in these things because you don't have a lot of people forcing you to focus and to get things done. So the main thing is to try to set a goal as far as a timeline and then keep it. And it's I try and I fail most of the time, but that is the idea, to try to discipline yourself into being able to get a certain amount of work out of yourself on a day-to-day basis. What would you say, Rob?
I tend to try to set small goals for myself. So let's say it's like, hey, I want to get these 2 pages laid out today, and I want to get this page finished inked. I wake up every day and go, okay, this is what I want to do. If I can get, 2 out of those 3 things done today, I consider that a success. The other thing I would tell you to do is turn off the internet. If you got to sit down and draw, maybe put on a movie or music or something, but stay away from the Twitter, stay away from all that stuff, because it's just your time is money, and every minute you waste, you're not getting it done. Just think of it that way. And it's like psyching up for a football game. You gotta get psyched. You gotta be into it. There's gonna be days you're not into it, but you just gotta get there. And I try to I close the door, put on headphones, and get it done. It's not easy.
Find the zone, stay in the zone as long as you can, and then take a break. But try not to, like you said, Rob. Don't keep the internet going as you're working, because every minute, every second that you spend, involved is it's not just a minute and a second, but it's also there's a time that it takes you to get back into your work.
And don't take breaks going through the internet. That's the worst. You can go outside, walk, pet your dog, do some jumping jacks. That's a break. Going through Twitter is not a break. So, because you're just gonna 5 minutes gonna turn into an hour.
Yeah, exactly. You'll get sucked in. Yeah, it's very it's very bad that way. Would you mind if I just went over my campaign real quick?
No, absolutely not. You can't do that on your own stream.
Oh my
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, thank you. Yeah, that's my goal, to waste your time.
No, go ahead, man. It's an awesome campaign. It looks great.
All right, brother. I appreciate it. So here we go. This is my labor of love. So it's cool. It's a cool little comic. It's called Chrono Mechanics, and they do more before the dawn of time than most people do all day. So like Rob's book, A Doom Fate, we are in demand at this point, and I think we closed out about the same time. I think you closed down in December, right?
Yeah, a little bit before yours. Yeah.
Yeah. So we are still in demand, and we are doing well. I would really like to get this to 40K. before it's all said and done, because I think we can make sure that, well, everybody's going to get paid off this amount, but at that point, it'll give me some money. And when I mean money, it's not like I'm going to get rich off it. It's more or less that it will help me by giving me time to do the next project, which is really how these things are working. So if I can pay the bills with these Indiegogos, then I can keep going and create the next campaign and the next IP, which is the goal, to just keep things moving like that. So Chrono started off as a 48-page self-contained graphic novel, and now, thanks to you guys, it is a 60-page graphic novel. So we added 12 new pages to the story, which is very, very cool. And this is an action-adventure time travel story which follows a team of highly diversified and ego-driven time repairmen as they race the clock to keep the Earth's erratic merging timelines from imploding. To compound their problems is a self-centered, workophobic new recruit who may be the one thing that they can't fix before the whole Earth goes kaflooey or falls apart. Yeah, so this is the story. This is a humorous story. I think we refer to it as side-splitting adventures of Team 9.2 of Sector 7. They are the best knuckle-busting working-class Joes to ever punch a time card. So they work for a company called Chrono Incorporated. And this right here is Team 9.2 of Sector 7. We have the guy with the blowtorch, that's Zin. And the guy with the sledgehammer, that is Caravaggio. The guy with the giant wrench is Oot. And then we have the 70s rock star slash slacker, which is Doug the D, who also uses his lucky pick to jam on his guitar. So that's basically, in a nutshell, the concept. We have all kinds of cool perks designed here. So we have the featured item, which is the book and a sketchbook, and it's the work in progress sketchbook. I'll show you some of the sketches that will go in the book, but each one of the book tiers will come with an accompanying trading card. So the book itself comes with a team trading card. The sketchbook comes with an elucidator trading card. And then we have kind of like what Rob has with his add-ons. We have posters as well. So it's bring on the posters. We have 4, they're 18 by 13 posters. And then we have 4 mini prints that go in this set as well. This set right here does not come with the trading card, but we did unlock a bunch of stretch goals. So there will be the stretch goal trading cards that you will get with that. So then we have the 4 variant cover collection. So we have Carlo Barberi, we have Tom Bancroft, we have Sean Cheeks Galloway, and we have Aaron Lepresti. And those all come with a trading card as well. So the Caravaggio card comes with the cover, so on and so forth. And that tier comes with the stretch goals as well. Then we have the 2 for each, which is basically you can save a little bit in purchasing multiples, and you save in shipping. And then this is the cool one, the ultimate Chrono Mechanics tier, which you get everything. You get everything in here, plus a mini print, and you get 4 additional trading cards. So this is the only place you can get all 10 of the main campaign trading cards. So there are 6 trading cards that come with the other tiers, but there are 4 exclusive only to the ultimate tier. And that will pretty much round out backstories on all the characters, their abilities, and their world. So each one of these trading cards will help explain the concept and the universe of Chrono Mechanics. So here's some interior pages. When you get some time, please browse. We are going to be putting up some new original artwork. The original artwork sells very, very well on this campaign, so people are digging this style here.
Yeah, like the Narwhal's colors are looking great too.
Yeah, he's really good. He's really good.
I like bright colors and stuff like that. That's a lot of comics nowadays are all dark and gloomy, but I like this bright color.
Yeah, it really fits. It really fits the IP, the concept as well. Mm-hmm. Which I like. So here is the sketchbook. So this will be the cover. As you can see, it's more horizontal. So the spine is on the very top of the book versus on the left-hand side. So you open it kind of like a calendar or a centerfold. And so here are some of the sketches that you will find in the book. So there's plenty of this stuff. There's going to be more concept behind the scenes stuff. And the Kids WB pitch will be in there, and I did a Foxorama pitch for the network, Fox Network, as well. That some of those pages will be in there too. So then here's a better shot at the variant covers. So this is Cheeks Galloway. He does Oot. We have Doug, which is done by Tom Bancroft. We have Zinn, done by Aaron Lopresti. And we have Caravaggio, which is done by Carlo Barberi, and inks by myself. And so here's a better look at the prints and the posters. And so stretch goals, that's why I was racing through so you guys could see the stretch goals. You guys get so much freebies just by backing the book right now. It is crazy. So, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, it's a good deal. It's a great deal.
Yeah, so right now you will get these 4 variant trading card set of the variant covers. So these are basically the covers of the variants done by the Superstar Talents. So that is kind of a collector set unto itself. And then we have kind of an not extreme, but an exclusive trading card only to this campaign, which is this variation of the main cover. And we've unlocked that. Thank you guys so much. I can't believe all the freebies you guys are going to get. And then we get this fantastic button of Team 9.2 of Sector 7. And then we have a lucky pick. Yes, this is going to actually be a guitar pick that we are going to print Doug's likeness on. And hopefully, if the budget will allow, on the other side, it will say Luck E pick on it. So then you guys have unlocked the 25 and the 30K stretch goal, which is those extra 12 pages. So thank you guys so much for the support. If you can, please back this book. And if not, I appreciate all the shout outs I can get. So share this with your friends, your neighbors, your enemies. I think I'm probably creating some enemies in the chat right now. So please, you guys, tweet that stuff out. I'm just kidding. Everyone likes me. Everyone except for no one. All right. So I was trying to think of a name, but I couldn't come up with any names. So yeah, so that's Chrono Mechanics right now. So it's going strong. It's going. It will be up for at least another month because we're still trying to figure out if we are going to close it when we go to print or not. So so get in, just like with Rob's Doom Fate. Get in now because you never know when these campaigns are going to close. In demand doesn't mean they're going to be up forever. So thanks, you guys, for letting me do that. Thank you, Rob, for letting me go off on a little side note there. So let me go back to the banner and give one last shout out to Doom Fate. So you guys, please go back Doom Fate. It's a terrific book if you're a fan of sword and sorcery adventure. This is right up your alley, and I can't believe it, but Rob is pretty much a triple threat on this book. He's writing, he's doing all the pencil work, and he's coloring it himself. So that's a lot of work. So please go support him. It's a great book. Do you have a parting shot, Rob?
Yeah, I just want to say thanks, Art, for having me on. It's been a privilege to be here, and yeah, please check out the book. We want it to go higher, so it's up to the fans and everybody out there that I continue on with these books. And also look here real soon, next month or so, for Grave Robbers. I think what I got coming out for that, if you like old westerns and spaghetti westerns and stuff like that, it's gonna be pretty awesome. I think you guys will all like it. So please back Doom Fate now so we can do more later, and watch out for some other things. And we have some other coloring books coming out and stuff like that here real soon over the spring and summer. So please follow me at Twitter at Passion for Drawing. What you see there on the screen, that's the best way to see what's going on for me and see what other projects are going. I'm going to be real busy in 2020, so I appreciate all the support of everyone out there, everybody who came in the chat today. I really do appreciate it, and thanks again, Art, for having me on.
Oh, no problem, man. It's a great community. And if you guys can, if I can ask one last favor, just give this this stream a big thumb up, because the better I think the more you do that, then the algorithms, and then this gets out to more people. I'm not sure how the math works on that, but we want to make sure that as many people, as many eyes on this stream as we can, so people can see Passion for Drawing's new project, Doom's Fate. So it does help everybody, not just me, but it helps out Rob as well. So thanks, guys. I got some encouragement here, so this means a lot. I think somebody said that I've come along a lot since I started. They said my last stream with my daughter was hilarious. So this does, actually, you guys, you don't know how hard this is. Public speaking is not my thing. So I do appreciate the encouragement. I really do. So thanks, guys. Have a good one. Have a good rest of the day, and back these books. Thanks.
Peace. Peace out.